Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning this morning. Good morning. I just give like 2 minutes for others to join in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. So let us start. Let's just give like 3 minutes, then we'll start. Good morning, good morning. If you're just joining us, good morning. We just want to give about 2 to 3 minutes for others to join in. Please, if you can hear me, put it in the comment section. If you can hear me, please put it in the comment section. Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please put it in the comment section. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please put it in the comment section. Thank you. Just trying to give like few minutes for others to join in so that we don't have to go back. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know. Hi, Pearl. Sorry about last week. Thank you. Because today is more technical, let's just give like 5 minutes for others to join so that we don't have to go back. So once we start, we fly. Let's just give others like 5 minutes to join in. Sorry about last week, but we'll be starting in the next 2 minutes. We're almost 5 minutes in. I'm just trying to notify those in the group to join us so that we don't keep repeating ourselves. We are starting soon. We are starting very, very soon. Hi, thank you for joining in. Today we are going to be doing Excel functions. I'm just trying to notify people to come in because last week we didn't do the class. Today is more technical, so we need a lot of, people to come in so that we don't go back when we start. Then today, I've only got one screen today. I've only got one screen today, so if you're in the support group, you can drop your questions in the support group because coming back to this screen will be difficult for me. But you can also drop your questions on the chat here. Okay. 2 more minutes before we start. Let me call up all the slides that we have. When you look at my life, you go see, the blessings is there, or the big. I love it, explain all the good things. I go raise a lot in infinity. Cause my testimony is not a finish. All my worries not finito. Plenty evidence. You are looking for. I think we can start it up again. Okay. Let me share screen. Presents, share screen, Okay, we're good. Good morning, everyone. So if you were with us 2 weeks ago, we did data cleaning, and on the data cleaning, we looked at AutoFit. So we did AutoFit. We also did remove duplicates. Then in terms of we did duplicate in terms of we also did inconsistent words, inconsistent spelling, eliminating blank spaces and all that. This deal with data consistency. Then we also look at concats, that is merging two words in different columns together into one column. Then we also look at removing we also look at the use of delimiter, that is separating words in column into different columns. So today we are going to be looking at Excel functions. So this is our goal at the end of the day. We are going to be visualizing this, if you can see it. So this is our goal. So this is going to be on the last Saturday. So next we are going to, this is pivot table. If we have enough time today, we're going to do the pivot table aspect. But today, this is what we're doing today. Brace yourself. This is what we're doing today. This is super easy. So I'm going to take it as slow as possible. So just flow with me today. Thank you. I'm using a different laptop. If the screen looks different, thanks to my team members. So I'm just going to expand this. So this is what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be looking at different Excel functions. So this is the second batch of the Excel training. So the first batch, we looked at VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index match, and all that. But I think we also look at the use of SUM on big data sets. But for this one, for this batch of training, we're going to be looking at the SUM ifs function itself, and we're going to look at the filter function. So we have the ifs function. I think I'm going to give the ifs function as an assignment, but I'll show you how to go about it. But let's start with the count ifs. The last batch of Excel, we did the sum ifs, and all that. So this time around, we're going to be looking at the count ifs, the how to use different filter, how to use filter functions, and also the ifs statement itself. So let's go. Let me just quickly check if we have any question. Can we fly? Yes, we can. So let me use my phone as my other screen. So I'll be following up on in terms of questions on there. So I don't have to be coming back to here to look at the questions. So let's go. So our first business question says, how many flights departed each month? Please, do we all have the data sets? The data set is in the description of this live broadcast. Check the description box, you will see the data set. So if you don't have this data set already, the link of the data set is already in the description box. So you can just download it. It's an automatic download. You just click on it, then it downloads on your system. Then if you missed the first class, you can go back. You've not missed a lot. We've only done data cleaning. Then from data cleaning, we are progressing into Excel functions, how to use Excel functions to answer business question. So this is a business question which says, how many flights departed each month? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this question so that it will be easier for us to work with our Excel. So this is what most of us have. This is data cleaning we did last week. So if you're here, just click on the new sheet down here. If you can see, if you look down your Excel, you see new sheet to add a new sheet. Some people say to add a new page. Yes. So when you get there, you can type out your questions. You can type out the questions so that it will be easy for you to follow. So to see if we have any question. So you can type out the question to be easier for you, so that instead of just reading the question and coming back, just put your question on the heading. I sent the link already. To put the question on the heading so that it will aid you. So now we have how many flights departed each month. So we go back to the data. This is our data. So how many flights departed each month? As you can see, we don't have any months, but we have dates. So we need to extract the months from the dates, just like how we have here. So you need to extract the months from the dates. So to extract the months from the dates, let me just show you. So this is what I did here. So you need to extract this month from the date. So to do that, you need to put the month on the heading. Make sure that you always have a column header like I did here, month. So you go back to the data here. This is what you have. So you go back to this data and you name your column. You can just put month. So how do you extract your months from the date? So we start with equal to. Like I said last week, all your Excel formulas must always start with an equal to. So equal to text. You see it there, the first one, text, and you pick the date. So this is our date. So we're looking at the departure date. We're looking at how many dates departed, right? So we're looking at the departure date. So you pick your dates, then you put the comma. So the next thing Excel is asking you is format text. How do you want to format this text? I want the dates to be in just Jan. So remember I said if you are writing text in a formula, you have to enclose it, right? Hope you guys still remember. So I have this, so I'm enclosing it. So I want I just want Jan. I want Jan. So that is why I have 3 M's there. So M is for the month. If you're doing it for the year, it's Y. If you're doing it for day, it's D. So this is it's just straightforward. So M is for the month. So I want just in 3 letters. That is why I put 3 M's there. And when I'm done, I close the bracket and I tap enter. And as you can see, now we have June. So we have, you check if it tallies. 06 means we are in June. Like I said, in Excel, we work smartly. So you don't have to do the formulas for other fields. You just double click on it and it autofills. Like as you can see, now it's not autofilling because I turned off my calculation. So I go to the formula bar. So if you do this and it doesn't calculate for you, that means your what's it called, your calculation option is on manual. As you can see, mine is on manual. So if you want it to always calculate all your stuff at once, you put it on automatic. But I don't want it, so I just calculate sheets. So you see now, so let's confirm. So this is 12 and this is December, this is 01, this is January. So we're on the right track. So we go back to our question. Hope I'm not too fast. We have a lot to do today. Just trying to see. How did I check? Okay. So we go back to our question. What's our question again? How many flights departed each month? So now we have the month, right? So what do we do next? But this month that we have here, we have different January, we have different December, we have February. We only need to have like 12 lines, which represent the 12 months of the year. So what you need to do is you copy out this column and you paste it anywhere. You can actually paste it anywhere. You just paste it anywhere. Okay, first, so let's paste it as value. Paste it as value. So let's paste it at value. So you have different paste options. So when you paste it at value, you are not moving it with the formula. But when you do the normal pasting, you are moving it with the formula. Let me show you what I mean. So this is December, and it might even give you an error. So let's paste it with the normal pasting. So you see, you moved it with this formula. So instead of you having January on the formula bar, you are having the formula. But see this one I pasted. Oh, let me increase the font size. So this one, I did the normal pasting. This H here, I did the normal pasting. And it pasted with value. I'm sorry, it pasted with the formula. But when you paste with value, it doesn't paste with formula. So whenever you want to copy and paste, especially if that column already has a formula, always paste value so that you don't move it with the formula. Okay? Now let's move. So now we've done that. What do you think we can do next? We have to remove duplicates because we only want January to December. So let's remove duplicates. So to remove duplicates, like I said last week, you have to go to, 2 weeks ago. Like I said the other time, so you go to data and you see, when you go to data, on your data tool, you'll see remove duplicates. So you just click on it and the system does the job for you. So now it's removed over 98,000 duplicates. So you just say, okay. So now we have 12 months of the year, right? See, the count down here shows that it's 12. So let's try and see if we can sort this out. So this will be a special sorting, custom sorts. Let's see, custom sorts, order, custom list. So now you have Jan to Fab. Okay. So you don't have to, it doesn't follow the normal sorting because the month of the year is not alphabetic. So you have to do the custom sorting to get it. So once you've done that, you copy out your results and you paste it wherever you want your where you want to start working, where you want your response to be. So you can cut it or you copy it. So I can paste that. So now we have our months. So next, what do we do? How many flights departed each month? So we need to count the flights that departed each month. So now we have the months. And so to do that, we are going to use the COUNTIF function. COUNTIF function means you only need one criteria to count. We only need to count the flights that departed in January, in February, in all that. So to do that, you come to the January box, you put equal to COUNTIF. You see there, you have your COUNTIF and your COUNTIFs. So COUNTIF is when you have one criteria to count. COUNTIFs when you have multiple criteria. So let's click on that. So your COUNTIF is asking you for range. What is the range? The range is where is the bulk of this thing? It is in our raw data. So let's call this our raw data. So you go back to your main data, which is the data tab, and this is your range. This is your range. So you're picking your range. I explained last week how to lock the ranges, how to lock your columns, how to lock your rows. So for this, when you pick a range, please always make sure that you lock your range. So to lock this, I am going to press the FN down and tap on the F4. FN and F4. You can see on the formula bar, it is locked. On the formula bar, it is locked. So I put a comma in there. It's asking me for criteria. Our criteria is in sheet 1. So my criteria here now is January, is Jan. But remember that I am going to be doing January, February, March. So I'm going to lock this particular January, lock it to the column. So I'm only going to move from row to row, but I'm going to be retaining the column. So how do we lock to the column? So you press down your FN and you tap on your F4 and tap it 3 times. As you can see, locking means having the dollar sign at the back of the alphabet. You can see here, right? So you close that, then you tap. So I'm going to take that again one more time. So we're going to take that again one more time. So let me just remove this we don't need this column G any longer to avoid any confusion. So I said the COUNTIF is if you want to count an item just with one criteria. The COUNTIF is if you want to count an item with just one criteria. So this question says how many flights departed in each month? You might have a data set that might say how many sales went on in this region for in February. How many sales did region A make? Do you understand? Or how many sales did region A make in okay, let me not use region because when I talk about region and month, I'm already talking about 2 criteria. So you might get a question that says how many sales were made in January, or how many sales were made in February. So with that, you can use a COUNTIF function. So that is just with just one criteria. So to do that, like I said earlier, you just do your equal to and you put in your COUNTIF. So let me do that. again. So let's do that for February. You do equal to and your count if. This is your count if here. You pick that and you can see Excel is asking you for range. Range means where is the bulk of this thing? Where will I go and find February? Do you understand? Where is the main data set? Where's the bulk of this thing? So you go back to, remember that we are in a new sheet. You go back to the sheet that has all the data, which is our data sheet. So when we come here, we look for the column that has month. Okay, we look for the column that has month. Now, the column that has month on here for me is column Q. Yours might be column R or column S, but the one that has months for me is column Q. So I pick that. This is my range. This is where the bulk of, this is where I'm going to get February in. So whenever you pick range, you need to lock it. You need to lock the range. So like I said last week, to lock the range, you just press your FN down and you tap on your F4 just once. So that locks the range for you. So the next thing, you just put a comma. When you put a comma, Excel will guide you on what to do next. No, Excel is not asking you, so you've picked the range. What do you want to look for in this range? That is your criteria. What do you want to look for in this range? So I said, okay, what I want to look for is in sheet 1. It's not in my main data any longer. What I want to look for is in my sheet 1, and what I want to look for in that range is February. Do you understand? So I want February, but also I want to be able, I don't want to do for March, April. So I just want it, when I drag it down, let it automatically calculate for March, April, May, June, and July, and all the rest of the months, right? So to do that, I need to lock it to the column because I am currently on column A right now. Then I'm going to move on column A6, A7, A8. What does that mean? I am working with column A. So I need to lock this to column A. So to lock it to column A, it means that the dollar sign has to be at the back of the alphabet. So I am going to press down FN and tap F4 3 times. So let's do it. So this is 1, 2, 3. You can also manually just put the dollar sign at the back of the A. Do you understand? So I'm going to close that and tap. So that's it. So I'll just drag this down, or I'll just double click on it to autofill. Like I said, when you have the same number, if you don't think that is not working, it means that your formula, your calculation option is on manual. So I'm just going to put this on calculate sheets. So now this has been calculated and everything. So let's see. So this is what we just did, Excel functions. So let me just copy out this color and everything. So Excel, this is month, number of flights. So I'm just going to copy this so that we can go faster. So this is, then when you're done, you can format it to look like a number, put a total there. So I'm going to put a total down here and we can sum that up. So to sum it up, just put your equal to sum, and that's your sum there. So instead of just picking one by one, just go up and drag down. I want to start from the top here. So sum, then you tap it, then that's it. So, but this is number, so we need to put the comma and all those things. So you just highlight everything here. We want to format it properly like a number. So let's format it. So we go to home. So if you do this, you're going to be having zeros at the back. So let's just so we don't want the zeros at the back, we just want the commas. So to do that, you go up here, then more number formats. So the more number format, you remove the decimal place, just put the decimal place to 0 and okay. So now we have the number of flights. Now we are cool. So now we are cool with that, right? So what next? We can add some colors to make it more popping. So let me And the color, oh shit. That color not so good. So this is better. My total, I always like my total to be in blue. Just personal preference. Something not too deep, something that will catch the attention. So this is it. We are done with the number of flights, but you want your, instead of somebody looking at the number of flights from here, you want to create like a chart, because this is like a trend. They want to see the the months that flights are moving more. They want to understand the peak period, the low period, and what to do. So this works for sales or anything. So whenever you do something that has to do with the trend, just try and pop a little line chart so that it at first glance it will be understandable. So we are just going to be popping that. So to include your line graph on this, so you just highlight the month and the year. So we'll highlight the month right now. So you highlight the month and the number of flights for each month. Then you go to insert. So on the insert, you have all your charts in there. So whichever chart you want to use. But for trend, we use the line charts for trend. And you can see there are different trend lines, different line charts and everything. But for this one, I am going to be using this because of the pointers, the bubbles at the end. So let me just quickly check if we have any question or anything. No questions so far. Are we following? Do we have any questions? Should I move ahead? There are no questions here so far. And there's no question in the group either. Let me see. Okay, no question in the group so far. So we are following. So let's move ahead and let's format our charts. So this is what we have here. This one, you can make it dynamic or you can just type in. Let's just type in so I don't confuse you with the dynamic means that whatever you put in here is going to reflect on the title here. So whenever I change the title here, automatically it changes here so that you don't change it twice. So but let's just type in number of flights. So you can decide to change your colors, the ball colors, to something else, or you can just decide to leave it. Let me see the color I used here. Okay, I still used the normal blue and just extended it. Okay. So you can still leave it the way it is, or you can, leave format the colors. Let me see. Can we format the colors? So you just right click to format the color. See the fill there. Let's add a more sharp color so that it will be like a pointer. So this shows that the month of February had the lowest movement is in terms of departure. So and the month of August had the highest. You can put in the numbers in. Let me see. So just click on the plus sign close to the graph, to the chart, and you see something called data labels. So on the data labels, you can decide where your label is or it's going to be, whether you want it on the right or on the left or all that. So let's say, I think this is okay. So this is what we have here. So at first glance, when you give this report, they don't have to look at this table to know what you've done so far. So this speaks for itself. When somebody says, oh, February, oh, what happened in February? Why didn't we move a lot in February? So that you've already solved some business questions, and with that, they can use it to run. All right, let's move ahead. So that is for number of flights. We need to work faster. Our time is going. So the next Excel functions we're going to be looking at is how many flights departed from each country on a monthly basis. So for each country, like for the United States, how many countries departed in January, in February, in March? So I'm just going to copy out the question as usual. If you're in the group, I can drop this when I'm done, I'll drop this Excel for you guys so that it will aid you when you're doing yours. I'll drop this particular sheet in the group when we are done. So we go back and we tackle the next one. So this one, now we are dealing with country, we're dealing with months. So that means we have two criteria here. So when you have, like I said, when you have more than one criteria, you use a count ifs, that S, just like your plural. So two or more criteria, when you're doing your counting, you use the count ifs. So we have the country name. So I'm just going to copy the heading. But let me just show you how to get this heading before I copy out this ones, so that it will be easier. But for people who attended my last section, I'm sure that should be just a done deal. So we don't have to. Now, they said country and monthly basis. What does it tell you? That means your country needs to be on, what they call this line. Is it vertical or horizontal? And the month needs to be here. So when you get a question, you need to find a way to arrange it properly. So you can either have your month stand and your you can either have your months vertically and your country horizontally. It depends on how you want to arrange it. In fact, when you are doing your own, I would love to see it the other way around. Let's play around it. So first, I'm going to move my month across because I already have it here. So I'm just going to copy this. Then since I want it slant, what do we do? So you paste on transpose. You can see. So when you paste on transpose, it's just the system just help you align it. Please, in Excel, you don't have to do anything manually. If it's taking you time, try and look for a smarter way to do things. Try and look for a smarter way to do things. Let me see if I pasted that correctly. So I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to paste it here. So next is our country. So we're going to move the country across. So that is, we've done for the month right now. So to get the country, we go to the main data. So on the main data, you have country name, right? So you copy out the country name, copy, then we take it to the sheet we're working. This is the sheet we're working. But you take it towards the end because we're still going to delete it. We paste them here because there are a lot. Paste all the countries here and now remove duplicates for each country. So remove duplicates from the countries rather. So to remove duplicates, you go to data and remove duplicates. Because we don't want multiple United States. Different flights left United States, right? So we just want how many flights left United States in January. That is our goal. So that is why we need to have just one country name. So we remove duplicates. We had over 98,000 records. So as you can imagine, so always remember to remove duplicate. That is super, super important. So when you remove your duplicates, then you can now copy and, or let's cut so that we don't have to come back to. Can now cut and come back here and paste that. Okay, say it is overlapping. Let's copy then. Why is it overlapping? Let me paste it in a new sheet. I don't know why it's overlapping. Okay. So let's copy from here. Oh, did I? Let me see. Can't be because copy and paste are in the same size. Okay. Let me see here. So let's move this a bit. So it's not pasting because it has gauged the size and it's telling me it can't paste because they're not of the same size. So let me see. If it doesn't paste, that means we have to work with it by this side because it's pasting here. But let me try and delete. I would have really loved it to be here. Excel is tricky sometimes. Copy. Paste. Yes. So you see what I did there? So I was trying to copy it from the column, from the C itself, but it wasn't allowing me. So now I'm just copying it by the rows. So I just take the column head and just go back and paste it. How smart is that? The system cannot be smarter than us. So that is it. So the next is, like I said, I always like my total to be in front of whatever you're doing, because you might be doing these reports for February and you need to do for March. As the month comes, you need to keep on doing it. So you can't have your total in front. Your total has to be at the back, so that whatever calculations you're doing in front, total, that line always totals up at the back here. So that is why I always have my total here. So with the total here, you will know the total for United States. So whatever total I have here, you know the total for United States, and you know the total for Canada. That is the total for the year. Then you also have for each, you also know the total for United States. You also know the total for January. So the total we're going to have in this column should sum up to be, should be the same thing as the total we have in this place, in the first calculations we did, right? So that is how we're going to confirm if we are on the right track, right? So what do we do? The count ifs, right? Let me just check. Okay, we're good to go. So we're going to use the count ifs. So you just do equal to count ifs. So what's your first criteria? Where's the bulk of the first thing you want to do? So my first criteria range is, I'm starting with the country. So where do I have the bulk of the country? Where's the range? Definitely is in the main data set, right? So we need to go back to the sheet called data. So go back to the sheet called data. Then we highlight the country name column, which from here is J. Yours might be anything. So don't beat yourself up if we have different, if our country names in another column. So yours might be in K or in I or in L, as the case may be, as your data cleaning was last week. So mine is in J. So I pick J. Remember, whenever you do your, what's it called? Whenever you do your range, you have to lock your range. So I lock that by just pressing Fn and F4 together, right? So the next thing, you put a comma. Once you lock that, you put a comma. The next thing is, we've picked our range for the country name. So what's the criteria? What do I want to look for in this country name, which is the country itself? And where do you have that criteria? In your sheet 1. So this is my criteria right now. United States is in sheet 1. This is what I want. So remember, we are going down. So we are going to lock this to the column, because we're going to be moving from A23 to A24 and all that. So it means that we're going to be on column A. So that means column A needs to be locked. Like I said, you can just put the dollar sign at the back of the alphabet, but just do it the right way. So press down the Fn and tap on your F4 3 times to lock it to the column, right? Good. So next we're going to do a comma. So we are through with that. We are through with the first criteria, the criteria and the range. So we'll move on next. So as you can see, Excel have asked us, what's your second range? My second range here is a month, because the next thing I have here is a month. So my second range here is a month, right? So where do I have the range, the criteria range for the month? It's in the main data set. Do you understand? It's in the raw data set. So I go back to the raw data set, then I go to the months column. Mine is on Q. I pick that and I locked it. So when I lock it, I just put comma, and now it's asking me for the criteria. Okay, you've picked the range right now, right? So what do you want to search? What are you using to search in this range? So I said, okay, I go back to my sheet one. I said, okay, please help me search January in this range. So I picked January. Remember, we have January, February on the rows. We have January, February, March on the rows. So now we are going to be looking on the rows because we are currently on row 22. So we're going to be moving from C22 to D22, E22. So we're going to be locking the rows. So to lock to the rows, we're going to be tapping twice. So you press down your FN and you tap your F4 just 2 times. 1, 2. So as you can see now, you have the $ in front of the numbers and there's nothing at the back of the alphabet because we're going to move it from C22, D22 and all that, right? So now we are done with that. We close the brackets. There is no more criteria. If you had more things to use to search, you can add more. Like I said, count ifs is for 2 or more criteria, right? So you tap enter once you're done and you have 1933 for United States. So let's confirm with the one I did earlier if we are on the right track. Yes, we are. If you don't have what I have, you can go and search. How do you check if your answer is correct? This is January, right? And this is United States, right? Go to the main data set and filter it. So filter your months to January. So let's filter the months to January. So this is January, right? We pick that. Let me increase the fonts so that I can see what I did. So what I did, I added filter and I filtered this column to January. You can see. So next is we're going to filter to United States. So we go to the country name and we filter to United States. So you scroll down to United States. So this is United States. So we pick the United States, right? So how many counts do we have here? So let's see. So you just highlight from the top down by pressing down your shift control down arrow and there'll be a count for you. Look down here, you see the count. Sorry. Count here, count 1933. You can see it here. So it means that what we are doing is correct. So whenever you're doing calculation, especially when you do the first and the second line or the first and the second row, try and check if you're on the right track before autofilling for others. So now we know that what we did, what we use our Excel functions for is actually correct. We have 1933. So we go back to the sheets. So this is it. So we can remove the filter from here. So I remove the filter and everything goes back. Then we go back to the sheet one. So now that we have our answers, like I said, work smartly. You just drag down and double click down. And double click. We have a lot of 1933. Remember, my calculation is on manual, not automatic. So yours will be or might be on automatic. But if your calculation is on manual, you have to, let me show you what I said my manual. You can see is on manual. So I have to click on calculate sheet or calculate now. So once I do that, you can see we have all the numbers here. So for the total, I will just come here and do equal to sum. Sum. Then I just pick everything here and tap it. So it sums. Then I click it down. Then calculate sheets. So you can see we are all good. But you don't give your reports like this. Your report has to be enticing. It has to be appealing. Do you understand? Because with this alone, you don't have to do your visualization. If you've used your Excel functions to answer business question and it's very appealing, you don't have to, there might not be need for you to visualize any longer. So if you give this report out, you're good to go. So you just highlight it. Let's put the commas. Let's make it more captivating. So you go to home. So we want to put in the commas and everything. When you put in commas straight from the numbers here, you're going to have the zeros. You're going to have the decimal point at the back. So like I said earlier, you click the drop down, you go to more number formats, you see decimal places 2, so you move the 2 to 0. That means you don't want any decimal place. Okay, so now it's formatted. So I'm just going to align this to the middle, so I like my stuff really aligned. Whenever you are so I'm just going to format this. So make sure that as your formatting goes, your color too must also follow. So my total here is like a teal blue. So I'm going to pick the same color. So because you're going to be making mistake in terms of coloring, so you just highlight, you like what is here. I like what is here. So you click on it, you go to this box home, you see something like Format Painter, you click on it, then you click on the total. You can see. So you don't have to manually, once you pick a color, that is it, you're good to go. So this month, I have months here. I still want my country name to be in yellow. So I come here, I pick this, I take the color, I put it on country name. So I can reduce the size of that. Let's reduce it to 12. You can increase it. It's still big. Let's reduce it to 10. So we are good to go. So for the January, February, let me see what I used. Okay, I used the color green. So I can just copy it out and go to my other Excel to put it there. You can see. Then I pick the color and fit it everywhere. So I'm just going to check if we have any question. No questions so far. I was going to check the group if we have any question. No question. So are we all good? Are we all following? Are we all good? Okay, so let's continue. You are good. You are kind. So the next business questions we are going to be doing is the filter function. So in this filter function, some people might say, okay, we already have Excel has given us the filter function. Why must we do it as a formula? So this is super easy. So this question says, the US airport manager requests data for delayed flights only. So that means this we have to that what does that mean? It means that we just want United States delayed flight only. That is what the airport manager wants. So let's copy out the questions to make our life easier. So we copy out that question. Let me remove this. So I'm just trying to copy out the question, sorry. So we copy out the question. So the US airport manager requests data for delayed flights only, because when you look at the flight status, we have the on-time flights, the delayed flights, we have the cancelled flights and all that. But the US airport manager says that he wants to see only the delayed flight details only. So we're going to be using the filter formula to achieve this. So for this one, so I'm just going to take out, okay, let me just do it. So let me just explain before we do the filter. For the filter option, so we can see we have United States and delayed. So let's move. So we're going to do equal to filter. So what is the array that we want to, what do we want the system to return? So we want it to return the entire sheet, but not, okay, let's pick the entire sheet first. So we want it to return the details on this sheet. So when you pick that, so this is A2 to Q and everything. Like you can see, I didn't pick the heading. I intentionally left it. So you might include yours. So I lock that arrays and make sure you always lock your array. And I put in the comma. So that it's telling me include. What do I want to include? What do you want? Okay, you've picked all this array, right? What do you want to add to this array? What do you want? First of all, I want it to be US because the US airport manager is the person requesting for this data. So I go to the column that has the US. So this is the column that has the US. So you have the airport country code. So I pick the US. I take it down. So I say, on this column, I just want the US. So I pick the array and I put equal to US. Equal to US. So I close that. So whenever you're putting a text in a formula, you have to enclose it. Sorry. So you have to enclose it. But for this, I am going to use, we are looking at US and delayed. So we have to close this. So enclose this in a bracket. So we've done for the US. And I'm going to use the multiplication sign. So this multiplication sign stands at the end. So I want US and delayed. So where do we have the delay? The delay is in the flight status column. So I go to the flight status column and I pick everything there, as you can see. And I say, I want it to be just delayed. Delayed. So that is equal to delayed. You see? So I close it. So you can just close this. But since you already have one, so you can see. So I close that and I close the second bracket behind it and we're good. So this is our result. It means that in the US, this is the US, which is the United States, we only have details, flight details that were delayed. So once you're done with this, you can now bring your headers into display, into the report that you just generated. So you go back to the data and you just take all your data columns, your column headers, and just paste them there. You can use your mouse to highlight, or you can just do it yourself. So you just paste it there. So these are all the datas of everyone's flights that were delayed. So all these people were delayed when they were departing. Their flight was delayed when they were departing from the United States. So that is it. So I'm just trying to check. Sorry, I've got cold. So once you have this, you can now format it so that it's going to look presentable like I did here. So we have the grid. So like I said, you don't have to memorize any color. Just go back to the color, pick it, and you highlight it. So if you want to reduce the font size, you can reduce the font size and everything. But this is it. So now we've learned how to use the count ifs, and the filter formula. We've learned how to use the count ifs, and the filter formula. Yes. So So next we are going to be looking at the if statement. This one we're going to need it in our pivot table. So we're going to do this if statement on the main data set itself. Yes, it looks complicated. Let me expand it. It looks complicated, but trust me, it is not. It is very easy, it's very simple. So I'm going to expand the formula bar also so that you can see what I'm talking about. Formula bar doesn't want to expand. Okay. Let me see. Let me increase it. So this is it. So this is what we're going to be doing now, the if statement. So we're going to be grouping the ages. So we have age 15 to age 15 and above. So we're going to be grouping the ages because when we're doing the pivot table, we need the age group for visualization. So we need to group the age. So to group the age, I use the if statement so that you understand how the if statement works. So we're going to do it together. So first, let's look at the age group that I used. So this is 0 to 15. Hi, Zoom babe. So the age group I use is 0 to 15, 16 to 30. So we're going to be telling the system if statement is like if I don't have B, give me C. Or if I don't have D, give me E. So this if statement, like I said, I grouped it 0 to 15. Already, if you have the age, you need to manually group the age, maybe on a piece of paper or in your notepad, how you want the age to be before you now feed it into the system. So the way I grouped the age was I said 0 to 15, 16 to 30, 31 to 50, 51 to 70, 71 and above. So I'm going to tell the system uh if maybe the if so. Okay, let's do it together. Let's do it together so I don't confuse you. So let's do the if statements together. So because I don't want to confuse you guys, let's add a column here so that you see what I'm talking about. Remember, we are starting from 0 to 15, right? Then 16 to 30. So let's do the first one first. So we'll do equal to, like I said, always start a formula with an equal to. We're doing the if statement right now. If, so it said, what's the logic step? So I said, if our age is in column E. So if E2 is less than, if E2 is less than 15, as you can see, if E2 is less than 15, you remember we are not going to be dealing with just E2. We're going to be going down. So you lock that E at the back. So we're going to say if E2, so we're going to lock that E2 because we're moving down. If E2 is less than 15, we want the system to give us 0, right? Now, if E2 is less than 15, give us 0, then we say comma. Then if it's not less than 0, what will happen? We use the if statement again. So we do if, I'm trying not to confuse you guys. I'm really trying not to confuse you guys. Let me explain from here. So in if statements, you can have multiple if statements into one formula. Because I'm going to get a lot of questions during the week. You can have multiple if statements before I start adding them. You can have multiple if statements in one formula. Yes. Because the if statement is if B is not equals to A, give me 0. But if not, give me 1. No, you don't want to end there. You want to continue. You want to continue the if statement. You can have so many if statements in one cell. You can have like 50 if statements in one cell. So that's why I need to explain this before I do it. Before you say, oh, she's having so many ifs just on one write-up or in one cell. So you can have multiple if statements in one cell. So let's continue. So like this one I did, I said if E2 is not equal to 15, give me 0 and dash. Do you see it? Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's combine it. If now, if E2, I'm available during the week in case this is confusing. If E2 is less, let's do less or equal to, let's not do it one by one, let's combine it. If E2 is less or equal to 15, so less or equal to, that's 0 to 15. If E2 is less or equal to 15, so I want it to give me 0 to 15. Do you get? So I said comma 0. Remember our concat last week. That is why I taught concat. So now we're going to have 0 to 15. So we need to add 0. We need to add 0, then the dash, and 15. So we need that concat. We need the and sign. So we do 0 and because the output is going to show us 0 to 15. And then we have the space. So this is 0 and space and 15. So the output, what we're going to have is 0 and dash and 15. If you can see my screen properly, yes. So when you're done with that, you put comma. Then you say if. So what is our next one? The next one is 16 to 30, right? So I said if E2, remember we're going down. So the dollar sign will be at the back of the alphabet, right? If E2 is so this one we're going to use the and statement because it's going to be if E2 is greater than 15 or less than, is greater than 15 and less than, greater than 15 and equal to 30. I'm trying to remember what I did. I think I did 16 to 30. So 16 to 30, if E2 is greater than 15 and also equal to 30, then it should give us 16 to 30. I'll check it out now. So if E2 so let me do if E2 equals to or greater than equal to greater than 16. So let me write in the formula bar. So if it is greater than or equal to 16, then put a comma. Then the second logic is if it's less than or equal to 30. So as you can see, let me explain it again. You use the and sign when you want to combine two logics together. Use the and sign when you want to combine two logic together. So my first logic is if E2 is greater or equal to 16. It means that it's going to start from 16, right? And it's going to move forward. That's logic 1. Logic 2 is if E2 is less or equal to 30. So it means that we're moving forward and we're moving backward. So it means that we're going to move from 16 to 30. That is, so the and sign combines all these things together. So that's the logic. So you close, when you are through with the two logic, like the and sign, you can use multiple logic using the and sign, but now we're only using two logics. So you close that bracket, and the next one you just put comma. So when you do this, what do you want to have? So when you do 16 to 30 for me, I want the output to show 16 to 30. So we are going to use the concats to join these numbers, your output, how you want to see your output, right? So I put 16 and, right? And you enclose your, please, if you missed the last class on the concat, on the merging words together, please check out the last class on data cleaning. We talked about concats using the and sign and all that. So 16 to 30. So that's 16 to 30. So our output is going to be 16 to 30. Yes. So we can, so let me just put this on 0. Let's close the bracket. Let's not make it too complicated. Let's close the bracket. So remember we did do for 62, right? So that's why it's giving us 0. So let's just draw the formula down and let's calculate it. So you see, so this one is 21 and it's giving us 16 to 30. And this one is 13. It's giving us 0 to 15. So it means that we're doing the right thing. So now we've covered 0 to 30. And as you can see, we have the output for 0 to 30. But I just had to close this formula so that you see the results of how it is. I think I should just leave it as an assignment. You just finish up. So to do for, you need to continue on this formula so that it will cover up to the last bracket, which is 71 and above. But if you want to improve on this formula, if you want to add to this formula, you go to the first cell, you click on the first cell. When you click on the first cell, you go to the formula bar. Let me expand this formula bar so that I can see properly. Come on now. My formula bar doesn't want to expand. Come on, baby, expand. Okay, formula bar doesn't want to expand. Let me increase the font size. So formula bar doesn't want to expand. But if you can see it, please let me know. So to add more to this formula that we've done, because we are only on 0 to 30, right? So we need to add more. So to add more, you come to your formula bar, you click inside this 0 that you're seeing at the back right now. This one. You can move. So let's move up to here. This 0 right now, you remove it and you put another if statement. Just like how we did for 16 to 30. So for the if statement, you do if and, because we're still going to use the and, because we're going to be merging two logics together. So you use the and. So what's our first logic? So that we have 16 to 30. So the next one is going to be 31 to 50. Let's see. I think so. Yes, 31 to 50, correct. So if statement, so we're going to put the if statement and to combine the logics together, right? Good. Then now we are moving 31 to 50. So and, so we say E2, when E2, when we want E2 is greater or equals to 31. So greater, you see the greater on your keyboard is close to your question mark. Greater or equal to 31, right? That's the first logic. They will do comma. So the next logic is we're doing 31 to 50, right? So we'll just say if E2, the second logic is E2 less or equal to 50. So right now we're using the if and the and right now. So if E2 is less or equal to 50, right? So we close the bracket on the and. Close the bracket. Once you are through with that logic, you close the brackets. So I did. So we are through with this logic right now. So we just do comma. So if I have 31 to 50, how do I want the output to be? You can see Excel is saying value if true. So if what I've written is true, what do I want the result to be? What do I want the value to be? I want you to give me just write me 31 to 50. So I do 31 and right. Then I do this. Then I close that. As you can see on the screen. And 50. So you need to tell the system what the output, if it sees this thing, what the output should be, right? Good. So when you're done with that, you just do a comma because we're still getting to 70. I said we're going to do that as an assignment, but let's just do it at once. So this is 50. Now we've done 31 to 50. So the next we're going to do 51 to 70, right? So you put the if statement again, if statement, right? And, right? And is to combine your logics together, right? Good. So what's our first logic? Our first logic is if E2 is greater or equal to 51. If E2, so remember we're looking at our E2 to the column, right? Great. So if E2 is greater or equal to, oh, if E2 is greater or equal to 51, that's the first logic. The second logic, we're moving 51 to 70. So the second logic is E2 less than or equal to 70. Less than or equal to 70. So this is the second logic. Once you are through with your logic, you close the bracket for that logic. Don't continue with the formula. You close the bracket for that logic and you just do a comma. So it's just like how we did the other time. So if the system sees 51 to 70, what should be the output? So I want the output to just be 51 to 70. Use your concatenate to add them together. So add. Right? To 70. Right? Yes. So our last one is going to now be 71 and above. So for the 71 and above, we don't have to use the add statement because it's just 71 and above. So we're going to say um if E2 is greater than or equal to 71, that's all. If E2 is greater than or equal to 71, I want you to just give me maybe 71 plus, or let's use 71 plus. 71 and plus. Then we close brackets. Okay. So we close the bracket. close the bracket, close the bracket, close the bracket, close the bracket, and you tap enter. So as you can see for the 62, so our first figure is 62. And in front of the 62, we're having 51 to 70, which falls under 62, right? So let's double click this. Let's double click this and let's calculate sheets. So as you can see here, you have 67, which falls under 51 to 70. So our grouping is quite okay. Now we have 71 here, you have 71 plus, you have 73, you have 71 plus, you have 13, you have 0 to 15. So that is how you group your ages. You use your if statement and your and to just group, it makes your work easier and exciting. Okay. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the group and we'll sort it out together. So I'm going to leave, I'm going to drop this. I think we can do the pivot table on our own. If not, I will do it in the next class at once because that if statement, I know it must have been a lot. So the pivot table is not much. We only have like uh four pivot tables, no, 5 pivot tables. So you can do this as an assignment. I'll jump into the group, just follow what I did, and you let me know. If you don't understand, we can schedule maybe a 30 minutes class during the week before next Saturday. Our next Saturday is going to be on visualization. Yes, next Saturday is going to be on visualization, and let's see how we'll tackle that. So let me see if we have any questions so far. Or maybe I should do one of the pivots. But let's see. I think the if statement was a lot. Let me not leave you guys to digest that. So by next week, we'll do visualization. But during the week, I'm going to be on you guys, to show your pivot tables because we're going to be needing this pivot table for our visual. This is our visual at the end of the day. So next week is going to be our last class on this Excel group. So maybe the next class, what we're going to be looking at will be Power BI. But let's see. So thank you everyone. That did not take as long as I thought. Thank you everyone. I hope to see your visuals, your pivot tables soon. I hope to see your pivot tables soon. So take care. Bye.